equation. Determining Darcy-Weisbach friction factor coefficient using bisection method. Numerical methods for solving equations are essential tools in advanced mathematics and engineering, especially when traditional analytical solutions aren't possible. Roots of equations, which are the points where the function equals zero, can involve the algebraic or transcendental functions. These roots are crucial in tackling real-world engineering challenges like balancing heat, mass or forces, and designing systems effectively. There are two main ways to find the roots of equations: bracketing methods and iterative methods. Bracketing methods such as bisection and postposition techniques starts with two initial guesses that surrounds the root and gradually shrink the interval to pinpoint the solution. This method is straightforward and dependable but can take longer to compute. On the other hand, iterative methods like Newton-Raphson, second, and fixed point iteration usually finds the root faster. However, they can run into problems if the initial guesses is off or if the calculations move away from the actual solutions. The bisection method is wherein the interval is always divided in half. If the function changes sign over an interval, the function value at the midpoint is evaluated. The location of the root is then determined as lying within the subinterval where the signs of change occurs. The process is repeated to obtain refined estimates. In step 1, first we choose lower x sub l and upper x sub u bases for the root such that the function change sign over the interval. This can be checked by ensuring that function of xl, function of xu is greater than 0. An estimate of the root xr is determined by xr is equal to xl plus x sub u over 2. If the fx function of xl function of xr is less than 0, the root lies in the lower subinterval. Therefore, set x sub u is equal to x sub r and return to step 2. If f of x sub l function of x sub r is greater than 0, the root lies in the upper subinterval. Therefore, set x sub l equal to x sub r and return to step 2. But if the f function of x sub l function of x sub r is equal to 0, the root equals xr, terminate the computation. Construct the approximate straight line connect the two functions of initial values similar to that of the postposition method to estimate the root value. Initial values that are labeled x sub o and x sub 1 along with the respective function of x sub o and the f of x sub 1. Other conditions needed. Then an estimate of the root x sub 2 is determined by this formula, which x sub 2 is equal to x sub 1 minus f of x sub 1 times x sub 1 minus x sub o over a function of x sub 1 minus a function of x sub o. To continue the process, we disregard the x sub o and substitute the previous x sub 1 to x sub o. Then substitute the computed x sub 2 to x sub 1 in order to compute for the new root estimate value, x sub 2. The process repeated until the terminating condition is satisfied. The second method does not have the bracketing property of the bisection method. Therefore, the method does not always converge, but when it does converge, it generally does so much faster than bisection method. For example, determining the head loss in a water pipe. Water at 60 degrees Fahrenheit has a density of 62.36 pound mass per cubic feet and a dynamic viscosity of equal to 7.536 times 10 raised to negative 4 pound feet second. It's flowing steadily in a 2-inch diameter horizontal pipe made of stainless steel at a rate of 0.2 cubic feet per second. Determine the pressure drop, the head loss, and the required pumping power to input for flow over a 200 feet long section of the pipe. Solution we use is the flow rate through the specified water pipe is given, the pressure drop and the head loss and pumping power requirements are to determine. And we assume that the flow is steady and incompressible. The entrance effects are negligible, thus the flow is fully developed. The pipe involves no components such as vents, valves, and connectors. The pipe sections involves no work device such as a pump or a turbine. Then the properties, the density and the dynamic viscosity of the water are given. Flow rate, pipe length, and pipe diameter are known. First, we calculate the average velocity and the Reynolds number to determine the flow regime. To determine the average velocity, we use this formula, which is the volume flow rate is over area of the diameter of the pipe, given to be 0.2 cubic feet per second, and the diameter of the pipe is 2 inches. which is divided by 12 to get the value in feet. Then to simplify this equation, we get the value of 9.17 feet per second. To get the Reynolds number, we use this equation. The density multiplied by the velocity times the diameter all over the dynamic viscosity. Equations to get the value of the Reynolds number at 126,400, which is greater than 4,000. Therefore, the flow is turbulent. The relative roughness of the pipe is calculated using the table. Then the epsilon over the diameter is equal to 0.00007 feet all over 2 over 12 feet. We get this friction factor equal to 0.0042. The friction factor is corresponding to this relative roughness in the Reynolds number can simply determine the F from the Colebrook equation. Instead of relying on the Modi chart, we use the Colebrook equation, to find the F. We input the value of our previous equations, where the Reynolds number is equal to 126,400 in this equation. Then we use either memorization method or the second method to determine the Darcy-Weisbach factor coefficient, or the F. First, we use the bisection method. We use the equation of the Colebrook equation. The x sub l equal to 0.01 and the x sub u to 0.02 as the initial guesses. Then in first iteration, the x sub l 0.01. Then to get the function of x sub l, we plug in this x sub l to this equation to get the value of function of x sub l. Then to get the function of x sub u, we plug in this value into this equation to get the value of the function of x sub u equals to this number. Then we use the formula of x sub r is equal to x sub l plus x sub u over 2 to determine the root xr. Then we input this value of xr to this equation to find the value of the function of x sub r equal to 0.04350435. The f of x sub r is positive, therefore we set the x sub r equal to x sub l. Then the second iteration, we use the value of x sub r into the value of x sub l. Then we plug in this value into this equation to find the value of function of x sub l and copy the value of x sub o and the function of x sub u. Then we determine the root xr and input this value into this equation to find the value of f of x sub r. The f of x sub r is negative, therefore we set the x sub r equal to x sub u. In the third iteration, we just copy the x sub l, a function of x sub l, then change the value of x sub r into the x sub u. This value is input into this equation to get the value of a function of x sub u. Then to get the function of x sub r, the value of x sub r into 0.0165, then input this value into this equation. We find the value of x sub r into 0.290739379, which is positive. Therefore, we set the x sub r equal to x sub l. Get this approximate error into 0.007, which is really small value. Then this is the tabulated result of the iteration. After the seventh iteration, we find the root of the given value function is 0.01742185. Then, and using the second method, again we use the Colebrook equation to find the f, this equation. Then we use the initial guesses of x sub l into 0.01 and x sub u equal to 0.02. The x sub o is equal to xl 0.01 and the x sub 1 is equal to x sub u 0.02. Then we input this value into this equation to find the value of function of x sub o into 2.644137.8. So on, then the f of x sub 1 into this, from this equation we get this value. Then we find the root x sub 2 using the formula x sub 1 minus a function of x sub 1 times x sub 1 minus x sub o all over f of x sub 1 minus f of x sub o. Then we get this value and plug in this value into this equation to find the value of function of x sub 2 into negative 0.095165641. Then we substitute the value of x sub 1 to x sub o, then x sub 2 to x sub 1 for the second iteration. We see this f of x sub 1 into this equation, this value, then this value x of x sub f of x sub 2 into this value of x of x sub 1. Then we just copy this their respective function of x sub o into this second iteration. Then we use the formula to get the roots of x sub f of x sub 2. Then we get this value and plug in this value into this equation. Then we get this function of f of x sub 2. Then we repeat the process from the first iteration to the third iteration. After the third iteration, we get the approximate error of 0.009, which is really small error. Then this is the tabulated result of the second method, where therefore we get the given function is 0.014007528, which is almost equal in the bisection method value. Using any the bisection in second method, the pressure factor is determined to be F is equal to 0.0174. We just get the first 4 decimal places. Then the pressure drop, which is equivalent to the pressure loss in this case, head loss, and the required power input. Then for the pressure drop, we use this formula, friction times L over D times density times velocity squared all over 2. When we simplify this equation, then we get the pressure drop into 11.8 psi. And the head loss is equal to pressure drop, change in pressure all over density times G, or F is equal to L over D, B squared all over 2G. When we simplify this equation, then we get the head loss of 27.3 feet. For the work of the pump, we just multiply the volume flow rate times the change in pressure or the pressure drop. Then we simplify this equation, then we get the 461 watts. Therefore, the power input in the amount of 461 is needed to overcome the frictional losses in the pipe. That's all. Thank you for listening.